Hey friends, it's Joe from DadBod. Today we are going for a 1.5 mile recovery walk. It is around 5:08 in the morning and 81 degrees. Last couple days it's been like 99 degrees, which is terrible, so let's get to work. Now, our path is obstructed by some kind of message I don't fully understand about it not being safe because a tree fell or something. So it says enter from a different spot. So today you get to experience a Japanese suburb. Now, I've done this path before. I would normally hop that fence, but it's okay. By a nice ravine. We could walk it this way. So originally, for these Wednesdays, I was planning on these being jogs, just to get out on our body a little bit. But for those of you who don't know, like, walking is also super healthy. Actually, you burn more calories walking uphill than running. So I think I'm gonna keep them walks. That said, as we progress in the program, eventually these recoveries end up being like 3 miles. And a 3-mile walk, it takes a decent amount of time. Like, I think that'd be a full hour. So today we're not gonna run it, but in the future maybe. Oh, I gotta hit start. Awesome. But yeah, so we're gonna walk 1.5 miles, and I think it makes it accessible for people that are having a hard time with the program. That said, if you're in a hurry, you got some meetings this morning you gotta get to, and you're like, hey, I don't have time for 35-40 minute walk, you can jog it. You know how to run. Go ahead, use your little app, measure distance, set your 1.5 mile course, and hit play. You got this. But actually, this is a really nice path except for the street. So I used to walk and run this when they were doing some construction, and there's some really eccentric homes along this path, which I really dig. But then at one point we have to cross like a major highway on an overpass, and it loses the aesthetic really fast. And for me, like, the whole point of running is getting away from noise and stimulus. So this is really nice. But then that overpass always bugs me, because it's even busy at like 5, which is strange because people don't really start that early in Japan. So most people get into the office around 9:30, but then they'll stay late. Some people stay till like 8 p.m. get home at like 10, fire off some emails while eating a bento box. That's a nice Maserati. We live in a very, very nice part of Tokyo. All right. So yeah, this area has a lot of nice cars. One of the strangest, like, rich people flexes we've seen, because we're not rich people, but J&J has housed us. Why is that verb not working? The housing that J&J has provided is very nice. Like, we have a 4-bedroom house in Tokyo based on the size of our family, which is super uncommon. So we've been positioned very well in central Tokyo, and we don't pay rent. That said, we're still swimming in student loans and things like that, so, like, and the cost of living in Japan's super high. So it's great that they cover rent. But our money still ain't working yet. We're waiting for that. You see how the nice, relaxing vibe kind of ended now that we're at highway? But we get the joy of stairs. That's nice. But anyway, one of the strange rich people flexes that we run into. I mean, naturally you're gonna see like McLarens and Maseratis and Ferrari, Porsche. Those are all real. A lot of Teslas out here too. But the one that I don't understand, and part of it's just based on the size of Japanese streets, is Jeeps. Like, and gosh, I've even seen a Hummer or two, like, just to like flex having this big this big US Jeep. Because I don't know, the perception in America, and you can, whew, the stairs got me. Make sure you're still squeezing the walnut, still tucking your tailbone, have a gentle lean forward. You gotta work for them, gotta remind you. But hopefully they didn't block this entrance though. We're almost back to the ravine. But yeah, in America anyway, like I always steered clear of Jeeps. I was like, yeah, Jeeps break down. I don't even know if that's true. It's just things I heard growing up, like, you don't want a Jeep. Oh no. Really? Alright, we might break the rules. Shh, quiet. We might take this one as a suggestion. Well, they had a gap here. The date on it said the 7th of July. We're definitely past the 7th, so. From reading the message earlier, in case you're curious, that the Japanese are like, heavy rains on the 7th, and today it's like the 11th, have caused the ravine to not be safe. Meanwhile, I've run through here in a flippin' typhoon. Do as I say, not as I do. So there's a chance that a tree fell. I thought we saw one the other day, but I don't think that warrants closing the whole path. But Japan is conservative, so. But at 5 a.m. there shouldn't be anyone down here, and if there is, they'll yell at me if they need to. Looks super dangerous to me. Do as I say, not as I do. All right. Someone's gonna light me up in the comments. It's all right. Maybe I'm just a little bit too American sometimes. I want to make my own choices. Is that what they're talking about? I mean, that tree did fall. We saw that earlier, but they cut it. So is it still not safe for me right here? That's so silly. Or is it over on this side? Because they said enter by the garden, which is like on that side. Oh, well, we'll figure it out. It's really interesting though, because in Japan there's a lot of compliance with rules. Like, people won't typically, I gotta say typically because I don't want to overgeneralize Japan versus US. There are trends, but individuals operate across those trends, right? For the most part, people will wait to cross the street until they get a green hand, even if there's no cars. Sometimes, even if there's no other people, they will just wait, just in case, just out of compliance and respect, which I don't understand. And sometimes if I'm in a rush, I'll still cross if my judgment says it looks safe. So it's just, I respect it. It's different. All right, there we go. Lots of danger in there. All right, I think we're good. We cleared the ravine. Well done, everybody. We still got our quiet nature in the morning. I think I was a little anxious that I was gonna run into Oji-san and he would make me turn around, and that would have made me sad. I'm gonna do a couple hip tilts just to get my back and my posture. Again, this is what works for me. Had a little bit of discomfort yesterday after the workout. Part of it is like I am sitting a lot for work, which is a shame because I have a standing desk, so I really have no excuse. But sometimes, like, if I want to really like work and focus, I feel like I need to sit down. I'm thinking maybe I need to go and do like 40 minutes of focused sit down, solve a problem kind of work, and then a 20-minute block of email or something like that. I haven't figured it out. I'm really, really bad at email. A year and a half into this job, I still haven't figured it out. Anyway, though, back to flexes. I realized I forgot this. I got lost on a path. Like, the reason Jeeps and Hummers don't make sense to me is streets in Japan, and this is a poor example of it, are super narrow. Yeah, you have like normal highways and normal-ish roads that are fine. But a lot of the residential areas are super tight. Like, I've seen roads where it's from here to like here, where one car barely fits wall to wall, and it's a two-way, and cars have to like pull forward, back up, take turns. So looking at that, like, for me, having something that's maneuverable is very desirable. So you see a lot of really small, compact kind of vehicles, little boxy things, you know. Some Japanese cars are super ugly because they're super functional. So it literally looks like a box on wheels, just so that you can really get your corners as tight as you can on turns. Like, I don't know if that red one's a Daihatsu or if that's something foreign, but like, if you look at the front fender and the rear fender, they are like right on the wheel, versus that Maserati, the nose comes out from the wheel, which is more aesthetic in my opinion. So you have a lot of flat-faced cars. Oh, it's a Honda, all right. Or even the van right there, also a Honda, really short, stubby nose. I think some Japanese car design that's like really exaggerated, like the wheels go right to the edge of the car, and it's so you can do super tight turns and maneuver it. You know, like the in the US, the Honda Odyssey, it's a cruiser, man. I had a Honda Odyssey. That is like the swagger wagon. It's absolutely incredible. I miss that car so much. But that sucker's got a nose. It extends out past the wheels a little bit. And then if you look at minivans in Japan, they got a lot less of a nose. It's a lot tighter, and it's just so that you can fit. And that's why, like, from a wealth flex perspective, and again, this is just life in Japan things I pick up on, like the Jeep, it doesn't make sense to me. It's so hard to get around. It would be so hard to fit through this with a Jeep. It's doable, but then what if there's a car coming towards you? What are you gonna do? You can't go in the river. But at least people see that you have an American Jeep. I don't know. Maybe someday if I get money, I'll get a Jeep. Actually, no, I was looking at cars, even though we have a nice 2016, is it a 13? It's older. We have an older Toyota Wish. It's fantastic. It's like a hatchback hybrid. Ohayou gozaimasu. We have a, it's called the Toyota Wish, but it's basically like the Prius V was a hatchback Prius. So it's a lot like that, but it's a little deeper. So it's like a minivan squished into a hatchback. So it can seat 7, but it's not a crossover. Y'all are like, why is he talking so much about cars? I don't know. It's what's on my mind today, I guess. But you know, it does the job, but it's old and it's paid for. So I really shouldn't be considering vehicles at all. I should be considering, how do we pay off our $200,000 of student debt so we can have some level of financial control, so maybe we could buy a house someday. But instead I'm like, let's look at Tesla Cybertrucks. Can I even get one of those in Japan? And as soon as I started going down that, I was like, no, you cannot drive a Tesla Cybertruck around here. Like, how are you gonna fit it in there? Because it's a little bit wider than a standard vehicle. I mean, it's a truck. Why do I need a truck? I don't. Oh, how gozaimasu. Like, it doesn't make any sense to have a Tesla Cybertruck in Japan. But in the event that we paid out our debt, had some savings for our kids for college, and had financial mobility, that would be like the vehicle flex I would be interested in. But then I looked at it, I was like, the cost of that thing is a mortgage. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Where are we at? 0.69. So we got to get to 1.5. Whew. All right, we're doing good. But in the event that money didn't matter someday, which I just don't see that in our life with our growing family, and who knows, maybe content creation goes very well, maybe DadBod goes exceptionally well, but I think it'll still be niche fitness content. Who knows, maybe you shared it with all your friends. Maybe right now there are like 10,000 people walking around with me in Japan. Maybe I could get a Cybertruck. Then the question is like, would I want to drive that in Japan? I would want to drive it anywhere but on my own street. Like, I don't even know if I could park it in my garage. And that leads me to question, why would you buy a Jeep? We're back to the original premise here. So if you have any thoughts, feel free to let me know in the comments. Fast cars totally make sense to me in Japan. You know, like, our kids are very, very privileged to, like, they get to go to a international English speaking school in Japan, and a lot of the friends they're making, like, we interact with their parents and we feel way out of their league. Like, people that have, like, started their own real estate businesses. Like, there's one guy that spends about 4 hours a day driving his kids to and from this school because he has to deal with traffic. And I was like, and he's the breadwinner. I was like, how do you burn 4 hours a day? Someone forgot their razor out here. How do you burn 4 hours a day driving your kids to school? Like, how can you do that every day? He's like, oh, well, I have a real estate business, and it's gotten to the point where the people I've hired, they're running the show, and I go into the office once a week, and when I go into the office, they're like, why are you even here? You don't need to be here. And he just keeps cashing checks, like, you know, like, and I was asking him, like, his journey, like, his 20s, 30s were a struggle, but he hit the 40s, and it's like money doesn't matter to him anymore. So it's like a lot of folks like that, which is really interesting, just because it's a side of business and wealth I've never really had proximity to. If anything, it's encouraged me to think a little bit more entrepreneurially about aFamilyFrenzy. By the way, let me see where we're at. We need to get to 0.9. Then we turn it around and go to our illegal spot. 0.05 more. But I hope you're enjoying your recovery walk. I hope you're sweating. Hope you're reflecting. Hope you're not too frustrated about a discussion on Jeeps. And if you had, maybe this is the question for the comments. If money didn't matter to you for some reason, right? you make it, you do very well, you invest, things pan out. What car flex would you have? Are you still gonna rock that 1994 Honda Accord, drive it into the dirt? Which I am all about driving cars into the dirt. But I will say something shiny would be nice. My car is like right on the edge of old, but it's doable. So the one make or break for me, even though there's a lot of things I wish this could do compared to, we had like a nice 2019 Honda Odyssey. It was loaded, it was wonderful. It had the remote start, it had those, you know. Then we came out to Japan and God opened up an opportunity to pay cash for a used but very well conditioned vehicle, like in great shape. But the feature that it had to cross the modernity threshold on was Bluetooth audio. That was the only thing I really needed, was the ability to connect my phone and play music while I drive. If it had that, I can make it. Were there other things? Yes, that I would love, that it doesn't have. But I have found contentment in that singular feature. I think that's what keeps me in it, is it physically has enough seats for my children. It can play my music. It can get me to Costco and back. It's even road trippable. Now, it's not super comfortable for me because I'm a bigger guy, and it's a very, well, it's Japanese, so it's tight. The steering wheel's on my knees. So could I drive for 5 hours to Osaka in it? Probably not comfortably. So that is the one thing, like, it's definitely a local kind of vehicle for us. Man, it's beautiful this morning. So, what's the car you're rocking? What's the car you want? And how do you navigate the tension in between to be reasonable financially? Alright, I'm gonna have to do some stretches when I get back. Definitely sore, which is good. You know what's sore right now? Hamstrings. Don't we love our hamstrings? Is that a new muscle you discovered? It's terrible, isn't it? 2 weeks in, you're like, why in the world? Who in the what? What's this muscle? Why? But we're getting it. Also, big update, y'all. Big update. It's taken a while, right? Oh God, that's a snake. Snap. I'm gonna take a picture. My kids just saw, but I'm gonna take a picture and get bit. I'm not gonna get any closer than that. See, that's a survival instinct right there. Oh God, that's a snake. Snakes bite. Dude, creeping on the stairs. What up with that? No, yesterday my son, he's 6, Hezekiah, he was watching on like Disney Plus, National Geographic, like a snake documentary. It was like ranking the world's most dangerous snakes based on their venom toxicity and how aggressive they are and how many kills they get per year. And like really invested in the show, wanted to see the top snake, you know. And then we're trying to get him to bed, and then right before bed, that show comes back up and he's like, Dad, I'm really scared about the snakes in my room. And I was like, but there's no snakes in your room. But what if the snakes, there's no snakes in your room. I'm normally I'm not skittish, but I don't want to get bit. Be a fun way to go out. That's actually the first snake I've ever seen in Japan. I mean, it looked like a garden snake, but if any of you were able to truly identify it, hopefully nobody gets bit by it. Hopefully it's just looking for a rat. All right. Well, this has been a good week, y'all. You've been able to run a full 5K. You should be really proud of yourself. You're tracking along really well. What's today, day 38? You're pushing towards 40, 38, 37. I don't know what day it is. I'll have to check. But you're making great progress. Stay in the program. But anyway, update I had before I almost fell down the stairs fleeing from a snake. Because that was my initial response, is physically get away from it. Survive. I finally finished the Lake Yamanakako half marathon video edit and posted that on YouTube. So it's available, although by the time this is edited, of course you know that because it's one of the first things I'll point you towards. But it's really cool for me to work through that edit, kind of relive that experience. That half marathon was rough. The aesthetics of it were amazing. The hills wrecked me because I don't train hills. I don't like hills. So I pick flat paths and then I get to a marathon and I'm sad. So you might want to throw a hill into your route. You might not have a choice depending on where you live. You might not have a choice to have a hill or not. But depending on what run you're doing, it's something you might want to think about training to. So we shall see. Ohayou gozaimasu. But hills are fantastic. They test our cardio and our strength. Depending on the length and duration, it's really like squat walking. Which is what Lake Yamanakako like had a nice pace. There was a little bit of a hill in the beginning, but like my kids were there at that part, so I had like the encouragement of like keep running, show up, you know. And then it leveled off towards mile 3, like 3 to 4, 4 to 5, and then it just swooped right up. And I didn't say it out loud on the video because the video I'm pretty much mute besides wheezing the whole time. When my dad, David Goggins, was whispering like, that hill's taking souls. I was like, it's not gonna take my soul. And I kept running, I kept pushing, and the hill kept turning and going up and turning and going up, and I was like, shoot, there's no end to this hill. Because before I did the run, I had never run that course before, which is really helpful. If you can train a couple times on the course you're gonna race, it just helps you get a good idea of pacing. But I had driven it a couple times. Well, when you're driving in a car, you don't really notice hills unless they're super severe. Like you're just making sure you don't hit a car on the other side of the road and you're like, oh, look at the trees and the mountains, it's beautiful. So I had a familiarity with the things I would see at different stages of the race, but not that hill. Anyway, about a third or 2/3 of the way up, that hill took my soul. And it turned the rest of the run into like a dreaded walk-run path of suffering. With moments of beauty. But I definitely got down on myself that I wasn't able to run a consistent pace the whole time, which was my goal with that one. But I still finished, even though it was messy. So I think it's really helpful for folks coming into this program to just see like, running long distance is hard. If you're big and have injuries, it's hard. And It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to exactly match your plans. Life happens. You know, I've learned from it. I'd probably train a little different if I knew I was running a race with a lot of hills. But then I also kind of think, would I? Like, there's a routine and a consistency to this path for me that brings about rest. And that's really why I run. Not physical rest, because running sucks the whole time pretty much. But it's like that psychological rest of getting out into nature, thinking, processing. A little bit of the achievement's really good too. Like, I put the long runs on Mondays, because Mondays are hard days. And we want to do the hardest part of the program first. A lot of people like to do their long runs on Saturdays because they perceive they have more time on a Saturday. And there's kind of a truthiness to that, depending on the person. But if you could just make yourself wake up and get it on a Monday morning, and then let the rest of your week ride that momentum and squeak in behind that, that's the way to go. If you have to flip it to an evening, because you're a night runner, flip it to an evening. Let me check. Time check. Let's check our distance. 1.43. Oh yeah. We should hit 1.5 perfectly. And we only broke the rules a little bit. But yeah, so I got to edit that, put that out. I also edited day 1 of this program, and I put that out. So I'm catching up. It's a big project. It's a large undertaking. You know, but I'm hoping that this journey truly is an encouragement for you. I'm hoping that you made it to day 38, that you're still walking with me in Japan. You're resting, replenishing. Tomorrow we wake up and hit Moose Lift 2B and keep pushing through. You're getting better every day. I got a text from my wife that my kids woke up, so I should make my way back. I'm gonna do like just a quick 2-minute prayer kind of reflection, just to kind of figure out how to show up as a husband, a dad, an engineer, a leader, and a content creator today. There's a lot of things I think should fit into the day, but it's Wednesday, so who knows what I can actually do. So I'm gonna give myself just a little mini reflection. Hopefully there's no snakes down here. It was a good scare. All right, no big spiders on the wall. All right, enjoy your river time for a minute. All right, friends. Well, hopefully that was a good one for you. Thanks for going for a walk with me. Again, for these recovery days, I don't know if they'll stay walks forever or eventually we'll start jogging for time's sake, but for now, enjoy the time, and I will see you tomorrow for Moose Lift 2B. I don't know what stretch you have before that either. I don't know. Check the program. It's organized, I guess. Should be at this point. See you around, friend.